Hello. So we're going to start chapter 2 of Alice in Wonderland today. And I opened a fresh page in my notebook. For my other page, I had only written a little bit, but I did it on white paper. And so I'm actually, my drawings, and as I was thinking about it, all of my notes. So I will actually staple this into this page, and then I'll start a new page here. I could do it on white paper again, or today I might just write it, what I'm thinking right in here. So chapter 2 is called Pool of Tears. "Curiouser and curiouser," cried Alice. She was so much surprised that for the moment she quite forgot how to speak good English. "Now, I'm opening out like the largest telescope that ever was. Goodbye, feet." For when she looked down at her feet, they seemed to be almost out of sight. They were getting so far off. "Oh, my poor little feet. I wonder who will put on your shoes and stockings for you now, dears. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall be a great deal too far off to trouble myself about you." So she's growing, right? So this thing that she had now, I think it was a cookie. Just check back. She ate a bit, yeah. Oh, cake, a little cake, right? So it's a good strategy if you don't remember exactly what it was. Go back and take a peek in the story. So when she eats the cake, it's making her grow. When she ate the potion, it made her shrink. Okay, so again, this world has strange things happening in it, and she, doesn't know like what's quite gonna happen. And here, I'm actually gonna draw that piece of delicious cake. Doesn't look very delicious when I draw it, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna, just make a note that it made her getting big, and then put a little dress on her, and here's her arms. Okay, so it made her big Alice. Alright, it's just some notes to myself. So she's asking her shoes, because she can't reach her feet because they're so far away now. Who's gonna put her shoes on her feet? And socks, she can't be able to because she's too far away. And then she said, "You must manage the best way you can." Now this is advice she's giving her feet. I think that's good advice for any of us. You must manage the best way that you can. But I must be kind to them. Also good advice for all of us, especially in 2020, this hard year. Let's be kind, thought Alice. Or perhaps they won't walk the way I want them to go. Let me see. I'll give them a new pair of boots every Christmas. So she's thinking of something nice she can do for her feet that are so far away from her. And she went on planning to herself how she could manage it. Then they must go by the carrier, she thought, and how funny it'll seem, sending presents to one's own feet, and how odd the directions will look. Alice's right foot, Esquire. Hearthrug, near the fender, with Alice's love. That is also very silly, addressing something to your feet. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking. Just then, her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was now more than 9 feet high, and she at once took up the little golden key and hurried off to the garden. Poor Alice! It was as much as she could do, lying down on one side, to look through the garden with one eye, but to get through was more hopeless than ever. She sat down and began to cry again. Now I got more tears coming. Also 2020. Alright. "So you ought to be ashamed of yourself," said Alice. "A great girl like you," she might as well say this, "to go on crying in this way. Stop this moment, I tell you." But she went on all the same, shedding gallons of tears, until there was a huge pool all around her, about 4 inches deep and reaching halfway down the hall. After a time she heard a little pattering of feet in the distance, and she hastily dried her eyes to see what was coming. It was the White Rabbit, returning splendidly dressed, with a pair of white kid gloves in one hand and a large fan in the other. He came trotting along in a great hurry, muttering to himself as he came, "Oh, the Duchess! The Duchess! Oh, she won't be savage if I've kept her waiting." Alice felt so desperate that she was ready to ask help of anyone. So, when the rabbit came near her, she began in a low, timid voice, "If you please, sir." The rabbit started violently, and it means like he startled. Started violently, dropped the white kid gloves and the fan, and scurried away into the darkness as hard as he could go. Alice took up the fan and gloves, and As the hall was very hot, she kept fanning herself all the time she went on talking. Dear, dear, how queer everything is today. And yesterday, things went on just as usual. I wonder if I've been changed in the night. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different. But if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? That's a great puzzle. And she began thinking over all the children she knew that were of the same age as herself to see if she could have changed for any of them. So I think there's a couple things here. When the pandemic hit, things really did change overnight for all of us. And I think it made us all question, who in the world am I? Because nothing was the same about our jobs, about our lives, about our families even. Kind of the rules had changed. But I think this line, who in the world am I, is very central kind of to our existence. Oops, who am? So this is one I would choose to write down as a quote. Who in the world am I? This pandemic certainly made me think about who I am and kind of what I want in my life and what my goals are. And, I think it's similar for a lot of people. But even without a pandemic, who in the world am I is something that I would probably ask myself more than once a day. Because I want what I'm doing to be meaningful. And, I believe I'm here for some meaningful purpose. And hopefully today it's to talk about Alice in Wonderland and help you folks with your, English, language arts, reading, writing, whatever it might be. And this is something I really enjoy doing. And it is indeed a great puzzle.